Hello, welcome to the Virtual Study Abroad Fair, and this is the presentation on Universita Cattolica del Sacro Cuore, and we have Tom Howard with us today to share about the program. Tom, would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. My name's Tom Howard, as Andrea mentioned. I actually am the regional manager for North America for Cattolica. So I'm based here in the States as opposed to in Italy, but I have worked with them for 10 years, actually 11 now, and have been in study abroad for 35 years. So I'm excited to talk about the program. We spent a lot of time linking this program up with Stout, and it seems to match things really well. And for you, Olivia, and anybody else who might join who might be business, we've had some really good discussions with Mark Fenton in the marketing business area, where some of the subjects and the internships potentially would really fit. So look forward to it. Shall I go on?
Yes, you can go ahead.
Excellent. And Olivia, can you see the screen?
Yeah, I can.
Excellent. I'm going to go through this fairly quickly and highlight some main points because I think we only have about a half an hour. Correct, Andrea?
Yes, that's correct.
Exactly. So there are a few. If I skip some, don't worry about it. I do want you to remember this one. This is the quad. This is where you walk into the university. It was a sort of a former nunnery. There's a grass space you can't walk on until graduation. It's really, it gives you a very Italian feel, and is directly in the almost geometrical center of Milan. So this sort of talks about different things that go into it. Not really valid. And the pizza makers video, we're going to forego because we only have half an hour. We are a multi-campus institution. You are likely to go to our Milan campus, which is our main one. That was where you saw the quad. You can see the columns in the upper left that point to number 3. Actually, number 1, sorry. That's that exact same space from a different angle. And that's where you are when you're at the university. One of the biggest things about our program, so Italy consists of a lot of programs for North Americans that want to study abroad. The 2 biggest centers are probably Rome and Florence. And then Milan is a bit different. We are, as you can see on the map, we're a bit more north than either of those. Before Italy joined to become Italy and was 2 separate countries years ago, we were more of a, I would argue, more of a mountain city. So you see Zurich and you see Zagreb. What you don't see are Munich and you don't see Geneva. Really, we're up in the north, and it gives a whole different feel. We are as much a Northern Europe or a European city around the Alps as we are an Italian city. So you kind of get the best of both worlds, which is really nice. But we do have the multi-campuses. Olivia, what's your major again? Business, right?
Yeah.
Excellent. So you would definitely, and you're thinking about a semester, not a summer?
Correct.
Yeah, you'd be in Milan, which is great. And we're going to come to that in just about a second. But that lets you know where we are. One of the other nice things about that is, well, there are 2 things. One, we don't have the landmarks you would notice from Rome or Florence in Milan, but we also don't have the groups of Americans. So you really get an Italian experience in Milan. People don't look at you in stores and immediately speak English because they think you're an American student necessarily. And not that they can't, but it just really lets you get the feel for an Italian experience, even if you're not fluent in Italian. And I don't know if you're fluent in Italian.
No.
Olivia? Okay. No, I'm going to talk to you till somebody else comes in. Okay. So that works out quite well. And so a couple things I want to point out here. That's the Duomo, the great big cathedral at the bottom. Every Italian city that's a little larger has a Duomo, and that means the main cathedral. That square in front at night is approximately a 12-minute walk from the campus, and it'll take you 20 until you figure out exactly how to navigate through all the little alleyways. But it is amazing at night. It's all lit up, and there are just, in the warm weather, hundreds of people, and it's a really great people watching place. And then the second one I'll say for later, but look at the top left where you see that sort of canal. That's the Canale region, and it's another really interesting portion of Milan. Sorry, it's taking a minute for the screen to switch. Give me 1 second. There we go. And so this just talks about what we are. We are the largest private university in Europe. We have, as we said, multi-campuses. We have a Rome campus. We have campuses in other parts of Italy. We have an amazing exchange network, which comes from all over the world. Being the Catholic University of Milan, we have connections just through our entire history through Africa, Latin America, Australia, New Zealand, Europe, obviously through Erasmus, North America. So when you're there, you're not just an American on an American program, you're with students from all over the world. And it really gives a nice mix because while the common language is typically English, you are around people who have, different experiences, came from different places, and you are with them, which is great. That gives you a few figures from what we have. When you read the 40,000 students, it's not like a UW-Madison. The 40,000 are split among the campuses. So because we are an urban university and we are actually in the absolute center of Milan, our accommodations, which we'll come to in a minute, are not the same as it would be at Stout. So there's not 40,000 students on a Stout-sized campus or even a UW-Madison-sized campus. They spread out over the entirety of it. So it won't, I won't say it won't be that different from Stout, but it will not be going from a Stout to somewhere where 40,000 students are on top of each other. Sorry, am I going too fast or am I okay?
You're good.
Excellent. So we have two different curriculums, and this is really important. We have the international curriculum. These are all taught in English. For you, you got business economics. There's some fashion, design, luxury that could be interesting. Communications and media. There are a number of subjects taught in English that work really well for subjects that will transfer back, and that was a reason that we became a partner. What year are you?
I'm only a freshman.
Oh, great. So you've got a lot of time. So the thing would be to talk to Andrea if you were interested after this whole presentation and look at ways that might be a pathway for you, whatever program you look at. But anyway, these are all in English. They tend to be on a Monday through Thursday curriculum, which leaves you a bit of room on a Friday and weekend to travel. But they are all for credit, and they've not all been approved, but the program has been approved. So the likelihood is as long as it approves into your curriculum, it should be approved as well. And again, Mark Fenton's taken a look at this and feels good. So these are what you have. We have several subjects in there. It's on the website, and we add a few to them each year. I will qualify here right now because of the pandemic. That has made things a little different over the last year and a half, as Andrea can attest to. And so this is all, assuming in the fall. You're probably not going for another year, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, exactly. So this will all be in place and you should be fine. So this is called our academic curriculum. The difference is, unlike the international curriculum for international students, the academic curriculum exists for international and our own Italian students who eventually want to get a degree and live somewhere where they conduct their lives in English, in an English-speaking environment. So these actually have upper level subjects. So for you, potentially, let's just say you plan to go as a junior instead, there are upper level subjects in here that you could look at getting approval for your curriculum. This one works really well in the fall. The European calendar is different than ours. It extends into January, but all these subjects in the fall are designed for an exam that will let you go home at the end of the semester. Gets a little different in the spring. You may stay a little bit longer, but they're designed so that if you really need an upper level subject, you're a junior, say, you want to go, you don't speak Italian, you can still get some in English. And again, those are some new ones that we're doing. Some of these, like I said, I have half an hour, so I'd rather leave some room for questions, but I'm kind of going through this. We have obviously a tremendous curriculum in Italian. That would be more like a UW-Madison type curriculum. But do you speak any Italian?
Unfortunately, no, not yet.
No problem. You don't have to. That will come up in just a second. I just wanted to check while we were on this one. Some of these are just talking about what you do. And so, Andrea, can you remind me, have we built in the pre-session or is that optional for students?
I'd have to double check. Let me get back to you.
That's absolutely fine. So we have a pre-session, which a lot of students do. Some schools build it in. If you don't, it's amazingly inexpensive. It lets you come over earlier, a couple weeks earlier, and do intensive Italian at your level. So if you've had none, you're at the first level. If you had some, you test them when you get there. What students love about this when they come back at some of our partner institutions, when I talk to them, is that they meet these other students from all around the world who are doing the same thing. And so they not only gain some Italian before the actual orientation on campus, but they develop these colleagues from around the world that they can, travel with, do whatever with, but they get to know a student base before they do it. So you'll get, and I would tell you, if you decide to apply to our program, this will all come to you. We send everything to you. Andrea's office is copied in. So it's pretty, you're not doing a lot on your own trying to figure out what to do. It's designed to set you up so once you get there, you can maximize your semester in Italy. We'll skip that. That's something that you can do when you're there. But it's not necessary. It's something you can do to be in schools to get some experience, but you're not an education major, so I'm gonna go behind that. There you go. An Italian language course is mandatory for the internship, but it talks about it. We do internships. If you were interested, you could look at that. We do them in coordination with a semester's worth of subjects, or we also do them freestanding. Our internships are pretty amazing. In Italy, or Milan is known as the sort of engine that runs Italy. Communication, business, banking, fashion, you name it. They would argue that they make the money and send it to Rome, and Rome dwindles it away. Rome would argue that they were the people in the north that are not really Italian. It's a really interesting paradigm with where Milan is compared to the rest of Italy, but it really is sort of a business hub of Italy. And so the internships are really, they're amazing. We have an internship coordinator who's done that for 30 years. And what she does, if you're interested, is talks to students about what they want to accomplish, not where they want to go. And then once she's gotten that, she will come up with a list of places. And even if you don't speak English, it might be project-based, where you're in the office maybe once a week because you're not fluent, but you work with a group and do a project. Or if you're more fluent, you might be in a space where you're in the office, or there may be an American company in Milan that wants somebody. So they can take any form, but again, they can exist within your curriculum for a semester or summer, or more of a full-time. Talks more about the length. I'm only going quick because I'm conscious of our time frame. Were you at all interested in summer, Olivia, or not?
I'm pretty open at this point. I haven't really made any decisions.
Excellent. So personally, I would encourage you, if you're a freshman and you're thinking about studying abroad wherever you went, build a semester in. Stout's really good about helping you to do that. And a semester wherever you go, whether it's language-based or not, will let you experience a country much more than a short-term summer program. However, if you decide to do that, and that's not bad at all, these are what we offer. And so you'll notice when you go on our website that they're designed and they're in 2-week segments. And so you can do 2 weeks, 4 weeks, or 6 weeks, and they list them by campus. So the business is Milan, marketing is Milan, cultural studies. We have a campus in Piacenza that is more ag focused, and you'll see that down where it says Piacenza, Agriculture and Food Sciences. And we also have a Rome campus, which is attached to a hospital. It's our hospital, which is where the Pope's hospital is. And that's much more global health and health sciences. So that's just if you decided on a summer. I would highly encourage you, as I think Andrea would, to look at a semester. Sound right, Andrea?
Yep, that's correct.
Excellent. And so this talks about the orientation. So whether you do the pre-orientation that we looked at earlier with the intensive language and meeting the other students, you'll still get a full orientation on campus, which involves all of these things. And you saw the picture in the beginning of the quad, which looked like the Roman columns and everything else. That is right across the street from our international building, where a lot of your subjects will be for the international curriculum. And the 4th floor of that building is entirely student services. So everything from accommodation to I lost my laptop, to what do I do with my visa, to I just need some advice on where to buy this. It's all in one place. and it's all English speaking. And so you have a place where you can go to. You don't have to wander around the city to find who you need to talk to. So again, it's all designed to maximize a student's semester abroad. And this just looks at the students who are doing orientation at that point in time. The nice thing about this too is that the student clubs come out. And so if you've got a particular interest and there's a student club, you can join them. And unlike America, most of them are fluent in English as well. So it works out really well. So accommodation. This is one that goes with the pandemic. We have two different residence halls, and students can live in those. They're about a 30-minute walk from where the actual classes take place, which in a city be kind of like being at the U and living on the opposite corner of campus or somewhere off campus. And Milan has an incredible transport system. They have trams, they have subway, they have everything else. So that doesn't matter. We have three different ones. We have a service called Mill Service, which is sources flats throughout the city. And their office is actually located on our floor. So that's a good one. We have another one, which a Stout student actually took 2 semesters ago, but had to come home because of the pandemic. And those are places where we say providers. And we vetted them, and they rent student type accommodation space, much like if you were in a large city in the US where you might not be on a campus dorm, but be somewhere else. So their work as well. But the point is, we vetted all these. You work through us to go with them, or if you choose one, we have you go to them, but we've already, like I said, vetted them to know they're good. Either way, there's housing involved in the program. If you happen to be with one of our housing, we pick you up at the airport. We bring you to there from the airport. We set you up in it. Housing can be, the dorms are like 30 to 35-minute walk. You'd actually get it down to 20 by the time you know the city, but it's going to take you a little while. The flats could be up to 40 minutes away, but they're always next to a grocery store, a metro line or a bus line or a tram line, a bank, everything you would need. And we provide the facilities for each. So, and again, once you have any issues, if you're in one of our residence halls, you go there. If you do one of the Mill Service flats, there's an office right on the International Building, and the others have their own offices that you would go to. So the bottom line is you're set with accommodation before you come to Milan, which is really important and good to have set. Talks more about what goes on in orientation. You can see the students, they're over in the university. You'll have some subjects at the university, and that's a real marble hall column, beautiful university, and some across the road, which is our International Building. But either way, you're doing the same subjects as others. That another slide that talks about competitive advantage of what you'll get from a study abroad experience, which at this point I would say to you, Olivia, you're a freshman. You have an interest in potentially studying abroad, do it. You know, I would love if this was interesting and you kept on with an idea and came to us, that'd be great. But because you have the interest, you've got Andrea on the line in the study abroad office, go abroad. They will help you and they will make this amazing experience wherever you go. Now, this goes back to the first slide where I pointed out that beautiful shot of the lights at night with the canal. There's a thing in Milan, Italy, but particularly Milan, which is called aperitivo. And aperitivo is you go out at night, you know, anywhere from 5 o'clock on, and you buy a drink, and that can be alcoholic or non-alcoholic, but they have a food bar with it. And with that, it's not just sort of tacos and chips, but it's cheese and meat and vegetables and bread, and it's absolutely wonderful. And a lot of students will make that one meal a week for them because it's very, very cheap. This place is where in the night, those are all lined with that. And so this place is just electric with people. So imagine New York City, but without the sort of theaters. This is it. This is a really wonderful place. And Milan is really a cosmopolitan city. It's the fashion capital of Europe. So it's got a lot going on with it. And then these again talk about if you're going to study abroad, what you'll get out of it, which is, you know, kind of self-explanatory. And these are competency things that you'll get from doing study abroad, which you can use both in your, you know, it's from the World Economic Forum, so they're valid. The most important thing about a study abroad experience is you would have to work really hard not to enjoy it, but at the end of the day, you want it to benefit you. And as you'll learn from talking to Andrea in her office, study abroad is one of those things that on a resume will at least typically get you a nod so that somebody says, oh, you went to Italy, what did you do? And if you happen to come to Cattolica, instead of saying, oh, I did a 2-week experience in Italy and we went around with this class and it was great and we saw 5 cities, you would talk about actually living in a city, getting a full semester's worth of credit toward your degree and what you learned from that. And if they spoke Italian, you'd be able to, and this is one of the benefits of Milan, regardless of how much Italian you took there, you will nevertheless learn it because that's the nature of Milan versus being around a lot of Americans. So it really works well in your favor, and a great thing to talk to your folks about with study abroad, that it will benefit you in the future for grad school or a job or whichever you decide to go to. And the last just gives our details. I would say that you can get those from the study abroad office, and that's a good way to go, because then you can talk to them and be put in touch with somebody who, because we can give you the best program in the world, but Stout has to approve the credit for it, so you get credit, and that's kind of the balance between us. So at that point, I turn you over to make sure that you're in that office, and then our office gets you everything else you need for it. So I know I went through that fast, but again, we had a short amount of time, and I think we have about 5 minutes left. Andrea, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Exactly. So Olivia, do you have any questions? Was that remotely useful, or?
I don't have any questions right now. Yeah, that was really helpful. Thank you.
No problem at all. Well, good luck with what you do. Like I said, the study abroad office at Stout is the place to start. But if you're remotely interested in the program, we would be more than happy to work with you. We think there's a pretty good link. And have you had a class with Mark Fenton yet or not?
Not quite. We've just been in contact over email. I recently switched my major to business administration, so we've been talking recently.
Yeah, well, we've talked to Mark a lot. He's not been over yet to the campus, but he seems to feel pretty good about the program.
I wanted to just interject here. I really like the fact that you mentioned the skills and competencies that are valued in the workplace, and that was on your previous slide. And we are actually having, and Olivia, maybe you might be interested in this. We're actually having a presentation at 5:30 this evening on this exact topic. We're actually bringing in employers from engineering company, 3M, and a couple of other companies. And they're going to talk about the importance of soft skills in the workplace. And these are the same soft skills that you can gain while you're studying abroad, just like Tom mentioned. So if you have a chance to join that presentation, that would be great. And also just a reminder, if you have I'm not sure if you've had a chance yet to visit the scavenger hunt that we have online. And if you finish the scavenger hunt, submit it with all the correct answers, you'll have a chance to earn a micro scholarship. And one of the answers is planted in this presentation at 5:30. And it'll also be recorded, so you can refer to that if you're not able to make it at 5:30.
And again, there's a difference. Let's say you went to England, doesn't really matter. There's a difference between, and short-term programs are absolutely wonderful, that's what you can do, but you're a freshman, you can build this in. When you talk to an employer and they say, what did you do abroad? It's sort of natural if you can say, well, I saw all these countries, it was incredible, blah, blah, blah. Or, well, I spent a semester there. That was a semester of what I did. So I did 7 on campus and 1 overseas, and I got full credit. Here's where I lived. Here's what I did. If I had a language, here's what I speak. When you do that thing this afternoon, if you do it, that's some of what they will tell you is what they look for. You imagine somebody who had branches in Italy, and they said, oh, you went to Italy, do you speak Italian? And you said, well, I really didn't learn it. Milan's one of those places, if you happen to choose it, where you would actually learn it enough to speak back to them. So it becomes, as Andrea said, really valuable.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Nice to talk to you, Olivia.
Nice to meet you too.
Bye.
Have a good day.
You too. Andrea? Andrea?